President Lyndon Johnson said, "We have learned all too slowly to prize and protect God's precious gifts. Because we have, our own children and grandchildren will come to know and come to love the great forests and wild rivers that we have protected and left to them." Being connected to the outdoors makes life better. Mounting research shows the time we spend immersed in nature makes us healthier and happier people. 40 miles from downtown Seattle, hidden from Interstate 90 by a column of high Cascades peaks, lies a wilderness retreat carved by a wild and scenic river, the Middle Fork Snoqualmie Valley. So close it can easily be reached for an after-work escape, the river and its forested valley offer outdoor opportunities for everyone. Trails for hikers, bikers, and equestrians. Ascents to spectacular overlooks and challenging mountain peaks. Riverside beaches perfect for picnics and swimming with kids. Nowhere else in the nation can a protected wilderness be found so close to a major city. Best of all, the Middle Fork belongs to all of us. Publicly owned, the valley is managed by the U.S. Forest Service, Washington Department of Natural Resources, and King County. Despite its close proximity to 4 million residents, access to the Middle Fork has always been difficult. For decades, a rough dirt road, riddled with axle-busting potholes, drove most people toward easier destinations. But now, a major road improvement has created easy, family-friendly access to the valley for the first time. But this new accessibility brings a challenge. How can we welcome so many new visitors to the Middle Fork while preventing our increased presence from destroying the very same natural beauty that draws us there? How do we make sure we don't love the Middle Fork to death? This is not the first challenge we've faced in the Middle Fork. Long accessible by only that treacherous dirt road, for decades the valley was a magnet for abuse. Old logging spurs ended in heaps of garbage, and junked appliances leaking toxic fluids. Rusting cars were pushed into the river. Illegal shooting was rampant. Criminals operated meth labs in hidden corners and intimidated hikers who strayed too close. But those days are gone. Today, the Middle Fork is a singular story of redemption, cooperation, and the passion of people for the nature in their backyard. A small but determined coalition has been at work in the valley for 20 years. They hauled out 1,500 tons of garbage, removed every rusted car from the river, helped law enforcement root out criminal activity, built trails, constructed an iconic bridge, and created a new campground. They gave the Middle Fork back to the community. As bleak as things were in the darkest days of the Middle Fork's past, the challenge we face now may be even tougher. How can we preserve the wildness and pristine habitat of a place like this, while ensuring that everyone in our fast-growing community has a chance to visit and share in its treasures? More and more people are discovering the joy and health benefits of getting outside. Meanwhile, government budgets for management of public lands are in free fall. That means less money for building and repairing trails and bridges, less for visitor needs like signs and sanitation. In the short term, that means a declining experience on our lands. In the longer term, it adds up to lost access, more crowding, and unintended ecological damage. The agencies tasked with managing the Middle Fork for us are being asked to do more with less, as their resources continue to decline. Despite their best efforts, it's a struggle just to maintain current trails and facilities, let alone create the new infrastructure we need now to prepare for a surge of new recreation in the Middle Fork. The agencies cannot do this alone. The question then falls to us as a community. How can we care for and sustain our precious public lands as population grows and recreational use rises, while funding for management of those lands continues to disappear? This is a challenge facing communities all across the country, but especially urgent here in the Middle Fork. With its unique proximity to one of the nation's largest and fastest growing metro areas. The Mountains to Sound Greenway Trust believes the solution lies in an entirely new model. A collective approach that brings new resources to the table and marshals the power of public-private cooperation. A coalition of nonprofits, public agencies, local businesses, and private citizens working toward a common vision of a Middle Fork Valley that can handle rising usage and preserve its wilderness essence for many generations to come. Connecting to nature is vital for our happiness and quality of life. It's part of the soul of our community. In the Middle Fork, we now have an opportunity to safeguard the future of a place that provides that connection to all who come there. The Greenway Trust invites you to join us in this work and declare with us that our wild places are an essential piece of who we are and what we stand for. The Middle Fork is yours. Take it. Keep it. Pass it forward. This is our moment to choose how we will care for a place that feeds our souls, enriches our community, and ensures that our own children and grandchildren have the chance to know the great forests and the wild rivers that we have protected and left to them.